You guys, what is going on? I am so excited. This is episode 400 of the podcast. 400. Can't believe it. It's 400 episodes of this show. So grateful to be able to share my passion, which is like chatting with sports figures, with everybody here on this platform. You know, whether you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whichever podcast platform, or you're watching it on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Like, this is super cool. 400 episodes of this podcast, and we're still rolling strong. And what better way to go into this one than with a professional basketball player, right? A sport that I love, and talking to someone who competes at a very, very high level. Now, our guest today played at Boise State University as well as at Oregon, and his name is Abu Kigab, and he's now playing overseas. And we're going to talk about the mental side of the game, what's required to compete at a high level from the mental side. And we'll also talk about the importance of nutrition and sleep and recovery to be able to consistently compete at a high level. You got to be able to get close to 100% with your body, but that requires you to be very disciplined and consistent with your recovery. So we'll talk about nutrition and sleep and how that impacts him as a professional basketball player. We get to also talk about his some of his favorite games that he's competed in. We'll talk about his mentality and the way he prepares for games and the way he prepares to compete. We'll also talk about the importance of film and studying the game of basketball, something that I feel like a lot of athletes have lost. They don't watch basketball anymore. They don't watch the sport that they're competing in. But he talks about how important it is to study the game of basketball, specifically the players that you like. Make sure to study their game so that you can understand how to mimic their game. If they're successful at the game, why not study them, right? It's no different than if you want to learn about business, go study someone who's really successful at business, right? If you want to learn about finances, study somebody who's good with their finances. Similar concept, right? Study the game of basketball for the players that you want to be like that are successful. Watch how they play. So many good golden nuggets here to take note of. So make sure to get your notepads out. Get ready. This is the 400th episode of the Gametime Guru. So,
what time is it? Game time!
This is the Gametime Guru podcast, where I interview sports figures from all over the world to help deliver a panoramic view on sports. So whether you're a former athlete, one of the crazies, or simply a casual sports fan, this is the perfect show for you as we peel back the curtains and learn from our guests every single week. I'm your host, Shane Larson, and I'm helping you see sports through a different lens. What's up, everyone? Welcome out to another episode of the Gametime Guru podcast. Shane Larson here, host of the show. Excited to be here with you guys today. I apologize for my eyes. I don't know. I've been up for about 3 hours, but it is morning here in Idaho at the time of this recording. And so I don't know, for some reason, I don't feel like my face is fully awake, but I appreciate everybody for tuning in. For all those who are listening, whether this is your first time or if you've been here for the last 8 years, listening to every single episode, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Appreciate everybody for being part of this podcast. This is how we've had it downloaded in 182 countries, all 50 states. It's because of everybody like yourselves that have joined in. So I just want to make sure I say thank you to everybody and give a shout out to Timberline Digital Marketing, who are the sponsors of today's podcast. I'm representing the hat right here. But if you guys need any help with your marketing needs, hit up Timberline Digital Marketing. They'll help you out, especially if you're a small business trying to get your name known and you don't understand how to utilize SEO, just all the Google keywords and all the different things and optimizing your website. There's a lot of different intricacies of running a business. Timberline Digital Marketing has it all for you if you need some help with that. So super excited for today's interview. As you guys heard in the introduction, an opportunity to speak to a professional basketball player, but also a former Boise State basketball player. I'm a Boise State alum myself, so it's kind of cool to just see some people that are rooted in the Boise State realm. Also an Oregon basketball player too, former Oregon basketball player. So we have Abu Kigab joining the show, man. Abu, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. It's super exciting. Now, it's cool because I've already watched you play, man. I've watched you play for a long time. I just kind of followed your career, but it was cool when I interviewed Sam Winters that he mentioned your name as like somebody that was influential for him, just watching how you conducted yourself when he was on the Boise State basketball team and just how he watched you and your leadership and everything. And so I was like, man, this would be a really cool opportunity to just really get to chat with him about some of the stuff. So Abu, let's talk about this real quick. You're overseas right now. Are you currently in Germany at this time?
Yeah, I'm in Germany right now. I'm in Germany.
Okay. All right. So here's the question I have for you. Starting off on this front. You're overseas. You're playing basketball. I coach the 18-year-olds in club basketball, so this is a really good opportunity for them to learn as well from somebody like yourself. What is the biggest transition going from collegiate basketball to professional basketball overseas? Is there what's the biggest transition for you? Was it hard? Just is it culture? Is it the game of basketball? Is it the language? What is it that was so hard, or I guess is the biggest transition? Might not even be hard for you going overseas.
There's a lot of factors like going to a new country. There's different food. People have different cultures, so you have to respect that. I think the play style in Europe's a lot different than the States. It's more team oriented, a lot of ball movement, a lot of cutting. So it's actually a lot harder to defend than just playing one-on-one. And the teams that play one-on-one usually have really good one-on-one players and are capable playmakers. It's a 24-second shot clock, not a 30 like college. I think the college game should have a 24-second shot clock. I still don't know why they don't. I think that would help a lot of guys be able to transition into the pros, and I think that would take the game to the next level at the collegiate level. But in Europe, it's just a whole different vibe. Everyone's really good. Everyone can shoot. Everyone can make plays. So you have to kind of be able to do everything on the court, at a high level.
No, I like to hear that. So here's what's interesting, Abu, is that I think the general public just assumes that like overseas basketball is just it's like not high level basketball. And I'm like, no, dude, there are some good hoopers over there, and it's good team basketball. And there's a lot of it's I think they just look at the NBA and they don't think anything else is good. And I'm like, no, dude, I've talked to so many athletes. I followed sports overseas everywhere. Like there are some amazing athletes all across the board for basketball. I want to ask about physicality. What's the physicality like over there in regards to like just their physical demeanor? Is it a pretty tough game when it comes to it?
Man, it's a lot more physical in college. It's an extremely physical game. Sometimes I feel like I get fouled 70 times in the game, and they might only call 4. But that's how it is in Europe, man. You can hand check in the post. You can really, really play physical. When people are driving, you can hand check them and kind of push them off a little bit as they're going up for layups. So you can put your arm like this when you go up to block a shot. So it's a completely different physical game. And it's just a whole nother level of physicality that I had to get adjusted to. And I feel like every country is different with the physicality. And it also depends on the refs. But for the most part, the team that sets the tone with the physicality gets the benefit of the doubt. And every team here in Germany is extremely physical. I haven't played a team that wasn't physical yet.
Wow, no, that's interesting. Hand check in. You can have your arm bar as the shot's going up in the post, kind of get an arm bar down low to kind of get some leverage as a defender. Oh man, that's tough. So, but you're yourself, Abu, you're not like a small guy, right? You're listed at 6'5", 6'6". So you're a big dude, I'm curious, like for someone like yourself, getting used to the physicality, and I'm sure there's other guys that are shorter and like smaller demeanor and everything, smaller stature, I should say, and they're going to have to get used to the physicality. What are some of the things you do now as a pro to get yourself used to like finishing with contact, getting to the rim and being, having to get through that and realizing that you're not going to get a foul call every single time. So you're going to have to figure out a way to get stronger with the ball going towards the rim.
I think it's just about initiating contact and being under control. A lot of times when you're going to the rim out of control, you can kind of get bumped and not be able to finish. But when you go to the rim, whether it's off one leg, those slow steps, or you're going off 2 feet, as long as you're under control and you're able to really be on balance, going to the rim and then jumping up to finish as well, I think that's the biggest key. Or when you're changing directions because they're hand checking you, you got to be able to get those hand checks off your body and change directions while being in control. Because once you get out of control and then that physicality hits you, that's when you're prone to having turnovers.
Man, I like that. I like that a lot. I'd ask anybody who's listening right now to take note on these things, especially if you're a younger basketball player. It's probably good that you figured this out now because, yeah, maybe not everyone's going to go play professionally, but those types of things like initiating contact, those types of intricacies of the game can still help you at your level of basketball, even if you're in high school, club ball, whatever it might be. It can still help you as you prepare to the next level, which would be college. So I would highly encourage you guys to take notes of what Abu's talking about today. So one thing that just came up in our conversation yesterday at my tournament, Abu, was I was talking to these kids, right? We're playing in the championship game. I coach two teams, and they're the two unsigned seniors teams. So these are the last chance for these seniors to get a chance at going to a college program, right? And we're playing at a 4:00 game, and there's literally no one else in the gym besides their parents and us playing. So now this gym that the whole weekend was super loud. Everybody's in there chaotic. Well, we're the last game of the entire weekend for the championship. Both of my teams are playing each other. So it's kind of it's almost like it's at practice again. So I had to encourage these guys. I'm like, first off, the energy's weird in the building, right? And I said, the energy's weird because there's no music, there's no noise. It's just us. It feels like a practice, like a scrimmage when we're going after each other. So I was encouraging them. I'm like, you guys are going to have to bring your own energy. You got to talk on defense. You got to do all the things that we talk about, but you have to bring the energy because most of these kids that want to go play junior college ball, which is probably where they're going to play at, it's going to be like that. There's not going to be a ton of people in the stands. They're going to have to bring their own energy. They're going to have to figure it out. It's not like a high school game where they've got the band playing and everything. Sometimes it's going to be a couple people in the stands. So we were talking about bringing your own energy and having to love the game, because if you don't bring your own energy, they're not going to bring it for you all the time. It's not always going to be a packed stadium. And I'm curious if you have any insight in your whole career of high school, everything, all through college and professional ball, on that piece of it. Have you ever played in some stadiums that, it was kind of surprising there weren't a ton of people there, but you had to bring your own energy?
Yeah, a couple stadiums. I remember St. Jose was kind of like that because they weren't too good when we played them. That year I was with Justinian and DA. A couple teams here in not Germany, but Slovakia. That's the first league I played in. And then I got bought out mid-season to go to Germany. But some teams, like a couple teams, didn't really have too many. But honestly, that doesn't really stop you from competing. I mean, you get an opportunity to go out there and play. So you got to take advantage of it. You never know who's going to be watching. And it really doesn't matter whether there's 1,000 in the stands or there's one person in the stands. You still got to go do the same job with the same energy. So it doesn't matter who's watching you. You just got to go out there and do your job. You can't think about the crowd. They really don't matter, to be honest with you, whether 10,000 or 1,000, you still got to go out there and do the same job that you get paid to do.
Appreciate your insight on that too. Yeah, thank you for that. I like that. I think it's harder for young kids to actually understand that sometimes. They think they're going to bring their own energy. They think they're going to go and compete, but when they're tired and the energy's down, it's like I just want them to understand that that's just kind of expected as a basketball player, especially at a higher level like yourself. In your experience, Abu, I want to ask you the same question that I asked Sam. Is there a teammate or teammates, plural, I don't know, that stand out to you that you have had throughout your career, whether it's on the collegiate, the professional, or even the high school side of things, that stood out to you as a leader or a mentor or someone that you looked up to? And what was it that stood out to you about them?
I didn't really look up to any of my teammates like that. I was more of a competitor. I really try to set the tone every single day. I try to be the best version of myself. I try to be what I was yesterday. So I try to get 1% better every single day. So I never really looked at my teammates like that. It was more for me about just developing and continuing to just get better, because I felt like that was the most important thing for me to do during that time. And that's how I still think. Obviously, I've had some great teammates like Peyton Pritchard, Bull, a lot of guys on my Boise State team, obviously, Justinian, DA. You got Emmanuel Acott, Marcus Shaver. But I've always thought of myself first in a way where how can I get better so I can help the team? You know what I mean? That's kind of how my mentality has been. As long as I keep getting better, I think our team's going to keep getting better as well, because guys are going to see that, oh, this guy keeps working, he's getting better. I should probably do the same or I'm going to fall behind. So it's kind of like a little competition.
No, I like that, man. You set the tone yourself. I love that. So can you tell me this real quick, Abu, having played at the Division I level at two different universities, you had Oregon, you had Boise State, and now at the professional level, what does a day in the life of a collegiate basketball player, I should say, look like for you? Like, what was that like for you every day? So I want to make sure we understand what it actually requires, and that's including classes too. But what is it like for you going in and actually being able to do this, to be able to compete at a high level? What does it look like for you?
Obviously, you got to go to class. Sometimes you got class early in the morning, 8 a.m., which I didn't like personally. I thought I valued my sleep a lot. So having to get up early for classes. After classes, I'll probably finish. I got 2, 3 classes, 4, I think, when I was a freshman. Sometimes I had classes later at night after practice and stuff like that. But you go to your classes. From your classes, you're expected to be there early to practice so you can get your individual work in with the managers or whoever. You practice, you stay after practice, you get some shots up. You usually have weights before or after practice, just depending on the schedule, but most of the times before. So you get that in as well. So you can get there early, get your weights in, go to practice, get your work in and before practice, and then work out after practice. And then you go to study hall for like an hour or two. So it's just a busy day. It's a different lifestyle. You got to really be focused because you're doing school on top of basketball. And the pros, it's a lot different. You're just doing basketball, so you have more time to really just focus on ball and maximize your potential there. But as a student athlete, it's definitely a lot harder because of the school. You have to go to all those study halls, and you just got to do a lot more things that take a lot of your energy.
See, I appreciate you sharing that because obviously you hoop at a high level, but even those kids who aren't hooping at a high level, like you have to like understand you got to prioritize your time. Let's just say they're at a junior college and an NAIA, whatever level of collegiate athletics, you got to prioritize your time. Um, Crying out loud, I always tell people, in 2006 when I was a freshman at Boise State, um, I had 2 stints at Boise State, but my freshman year, my true freshman year, I was just boxing. They had a boxing club. I fought for Golden Gloves for 3 years, so I just decided to join their club boxing team because I'd already been fighting for a couple of years. And even that, which is a club sport for crying out loud, it wasn't nearly as demanding as what you guys were doing. Even that, along with I was working full time, working part time, so I'd work on the days I didn't have school, but I'd have school and I'd have boxing practice, and I had to, and it was like so demanding. I was like, holy crap, dude! I didn't realize like between work, school, and boxing, how much of my energy was taken. And I'm like, dude, if I was doing a full time, like we're talking high level sports, like what you guys are doing, where you have to have a structured schedule and trying to keep up with my grades were what started to plummet my freshman year in college was because of all the other things I was just like, dude, I'm so tired. I'm not doing my homework. I don't have any time. I thought I didn't have time. So I didn't have that skill set when I first got to college when I was 17, 18 years old. But as I got older, obviously that stuff kind of changed direction. And I actually now as a 36-year-old, I consider myself really good with prioritizing my time. I can handle a lot on my plate. But those are the things that I feel like if I would have known then, it would have been so much better. So I'm appreciative that you said that. I think all these kids need to learn that. Like you've got to prioritize your time. But one thing you mentioned right there is now as a professional, you can just simply focus on hoops. So I want to ask about that like that right there. What do you do differently now than you did then? Are you adding more to your plate for basketball, or are you able just to simply like let your mind recover? Is that kind of what you're saying? Is like now you just have time to be able to
More
recover?
of the, I'd say more time because sometimes you get so drained mentally, you have to recharge. So you need a lot of sleep. You need to take some naps. You need to do a lot of visualization, seeing yourself succeed, seeing yourself hit shots, playing the game before you play the game. So the mental side has become a lot more important, especially as I got older, because I realized how important that is to take you to the next level. Like a lot of guys can hit shots, a lot of guys are athletic, like I've seen it, but a lot of guys can't put it all together because they just don't have that mentality to really believe in themselves and that killer instinct to just go out there and do it and be not afraid to fail because you're gonna fail. Like it's a part of the game. You can't just let failure discourage you from shooting that shot or making that play just because you're scared to turn it over and miss the shot. You can't let that fear override, what you got to do. So it's all mental at this level because everyone's really good, everyone's talented, but it's the ones that just have that killer instincts and believe in themselves. Whether you go out there and miss 20 shots and you take that 21st one, or you make 20 in a row, you just keep playing and keep doing what you do. So that's the most important thing, honestly, that mentality, because that's the separator, really.
Ooh, that is awesome. Do you have any advice that you might give to some of these younger athletes? Maybe, you're a freshman in high school. I talked to a couple of them yesterday. Really talented, Abu. I've seen some of these athletic kids. They've got all the physical skill sets that you need to be successful, but they literally have no confidence for one reason or another. Some of them will say, oh, well, a coach that I've had before told me I couldn't shoot the ball or whatever. But some of them just simply don't have that confidence. They have performance anxiety on the court. Is there anything you would advise to the younger athletes to kind of start with that, building their mental strength and their just the fortitude that's required to compete?
I say you just can't care about what the coach says. You really just got to ignore that. Obviously, you have to listen to your coach, but a lot of coaches told me I couldn't shoot when I could shoot. A lot of coaches told me to pass the ball when I could go score. So to me, it's just about your mentality. You can't let somebody else dictate what you can and can't do on the floor. So in my opinion, how I go about it, I would rather go out there and play my game and do what I do, or I'd get cut off my team. I'd rather go out how I play than to do something else that's not who I am. You know what I mean? So I don't care what the coach says or anything. If he doesn't like my game, he can cut me. That's how I really think. And I know he's going to like my game because if I do what I'm supposed to do and I have the right mentality, I'm always going to play well. The only times you're not going to play well is when you're doubting yourself and, listening to other people's opinions. So you got to really just have that FU attitude and just go out there and play basketball. That's as simply as I can put it. Like, it doesn't matter what your coach says. He's going to say what he say regardless. But you're going to have to go out there and shoot the same shots that you've been working on and making. And, like, back to what I said about the mental game, like, some games you might miss, and that's the games the coach is going to get on you and make you feel bad and tell you not to shoot it. But you got to be a little crazy enough to come back the next day and shoot the same shots and make them. And if you miss them, you got to come back the day after and shoot them and make them. So that's how you really got to think about it. And if coach doesn't play you, he's not. I mean, he's going to give you a chance eventually. So when you go in, do what you do. And when it starts falling, it's going to start raining. So that's how you really got to think about it, honestly.
But one of the things you just said right here, and it's funny because I always try to teach the kids to like play the best in their role and whatnot. But like, I love what you said here, though. I'm going to play my game because I know the coach is going to like it when I can just play my game. Like, he's going to like me if I'm allowed to just play my game. He'll like the game that I am because like you know the skills you have, what you can bring to the team. So if you can just play freely, the coach is going to like it. He's not going to be telling you, he or she's not going to be telling you what to do. That's huge. And what's interesting is for all these kids that are here, like listening to this right now, or even parents, it's incredible what a kid can do when they can play freely. So I love what you said there. Just like having the attitude to just play your game, just do what you're supposed to, because the coach will. Is he going to cut you? Okay, whatever. But like, if you're playing your game and you know that your game is solid, if you can just play freely the way you want to play, coach isn't going to cut you because you're impacting the game in a positive way, right? So I actually really like what you said right there. I wish more kids could play freely, and that's one of my jobs as a coach. I'm trying to help these kids unlock their potential and just let them play free. Sometimes they get trapped in this like system type of a game where they're at wherever they play high school ball or whatever, and then they come to the club ball game and they're trying to figure it out. And if you can get them to play free, man, it's incredible what some people can do. So I love that. And they build confidence that way. When you play free, your confidence skyrockets. It skyrockets. Holy cow, I can't speak. But that's awesome. Oh, go ahead.
Back on that. I was watching Jason Tatum in the Celtics, and every time he caught the ball, no matter where he was at, he was trying to score the ball because that's his game. So I'm like, this is how Jason Tatum plays. Okay. And then I seen Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown was doing the same exact thing. So, and then I thought to myself, these guys just won a championship. He got MVP. He's first team. I guess this actually works. If your game and you play to the maximum of your abilities, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I love that. Great examples to look up to, right? I love that. Hey, Abu, and all your experience with all the Division I and professional level, who is a guy that you have competed against that was a tough opponent but helped you level up your game because then you had to step up? I'm just curious if you have an opponent that you've gone against that was like, okay, I got to step up my game, and you came prepared and had to lock in for the entirety of the game.
I mean, every opponent's different. I didn't have one that really stood out like that. But I had a teammate who was extremely talented that it was Bull. That was probably the most talented player I've ever played with. or against in practice. When it comes to guys that are 7'2" and can do everything, they're kind of pretty unstoppable. And we're kind of getting a glimpse of that in the NBA. And I had one of my teammates, Emmanuel Akai. He was a really good player too. He gave me a hard time in practice. A lot of the players that gave me hard times weren't really players on the opposing team. It was mostly my teammates that had some really good teammates. Peyton Pritchard also was really good. Justinian was also really good. Those guys gave me a lot of trouble in practice, so I had to come ready. I had to come prepared every single day.
No, that's actually pretty sweet, because then by that point, if you have the right teammates, by that point, your games you're going against, you've already seen the better opponents in practice. So that's always nice. Hey, what's one of your favorite games you've been a part of, whether it be professional or collegiate? What's one of your favorite games you've ever been a part of, and what stands out to you about that as a memory?
I would probably say the Mountain West game against Nevada, where we won the championship. We had started off really hot. They came back. It was a back and forth game, and it came down to the wire. We won it with our defense. I think I hit some clutch free throws. I had a pretty good game that game, and that was my senior night as well. So being able to hold that trophy felt really good. That was probably my favorite game in college. And in the pros, pros is a little different because it's a different play style. I'm still getting adjusted to it. But if I can't say I had one game like that game, because that game meant so much. Because when I got to Boise State, we weren't doing so well, and slowly over the years we built it up, and we built it up to what it was. So that's why I think that one feels so special to me, because we built it up every year, and we reached our goal eventually.
Oh, that's cool, man. And not a lot of people get to say that, right? Not a lot of athletes get to go out with a win like that. Like, just kind of like you hit the peak, you accomplish what you set out to accomplish. Not every athlete gets that, right? Some athletes don't get it. They set out for a goal and they don't get to accomplish that goal, so to speak. So I think that's pretty cool. It's really cool when you can actually say you did that. Senior night, win it, host the trophy, hoist the trophy. It's pretty sweet. I think that's dope. The other question I wanted to ask you, right before we started recording, you had mentioned you just had a game last night. You took an L last night, but trying to get back to it and everything. Failures in athletics. I want to talk about how you come back from like losses or any kind of a setback that might, whether it be an injury or a loss in your career and with your experience, Abu. How do you advise coming back from these types of setbacks, whether it's a loss or an injury or whatever?
I think losing when you play good isn't too bad, but losing when you play bad, that's the hardest part. But it all comes down to your mentality. You got to watch the game first of all. I always watch the game and see what I did wrong or not what I did wrong, what I can improve on. And I just go from there. Sometimes when you lose and you play bad, you felt like you played so bad. But when you watch the game, it's actually not as bad as you think. You might have just missed some shots, missed a couple reads, but in the moment, because everything's just, going so crazy and you're playing bad and the snowball effect is happening. So everything's feeling worse than what it actually is. Your coach might be yelling at you. Your teammates might be screaming. So everything might feel a lot worse than what it is. But when you go watch the game, you realize it actually wasn't that bad. And you just have to be able to, just get over it. It doesn't really matter whether you win or lose. You're still going to have the next game. So you can have a bad game. It doesn't really matter. You can't change it. You can learn from it. But after you learn from it, you're going to have to go play that next game. And every team is different. So going into every game, you have a different game plan because you got different matchups. The other teams has different sets, different players, different personnel. So no two games are the same. Even when you play the same team twice, it's that team usually makes adjustments and you make adjustments as well. So you just got to take it day by day and just try to get better from your losses, especially when you play bad. Because when you play really good and you lose, it doesn't really hurt like that because, I played good. But when you play bad and you lose, that's when I think it's harder for a lot of players because you played bad and you feel like you're the reason you lost. But honestly, you just got to get over yourself. It's just winning and losing. I mean, it's going to happen. Somebody has to lose. So you just got to just get over it. It's literally that simple. It really doesn't matter. If like 10 years from now, you're probably not even going to remember that game, or even maybe a month.
Yeah. I like that. There's always going to be another game to play. You got something else coming. You mentioned film study too, just kind of watching your own game. How important has film study been for you as in your evolution as a basketball player?
I think that was probably the most important thing. I started off watching film really in Oregon. I started watching practice film. I started watching how I move. I realized the best players are the best movers. So I started changing my movement on the basketball court, and I think that helped me a lot. I'm still working on improving my movements because that's something you got to just keep improving, keep working on your body so you're a more fluid mover. But if you really watch the best players, they have the best movement. You know, the best players aren't really like stiff guys that can't really maneuver through the defense and get to where they want. It's really guys that have fluid movements that can get to what they want and get off their shot off comfortably. And that's kind of how you want to play. If you have a favorite player that you really want to play like, I think you should watch him a lot. Like slow him down, pause, see what he does, watch his jump shot, how he shoots, watch how he dribbles, where the ball is when he's dribbling it. Is the ball on his side? Is the ball out in front of him? Watch when he goes slow to fast. Literally, in your head when you're watching him, you gotta say slow, fast. You know what I'm saying? Like you're changing the pace. He's changing pace, and in your head, you're pretending like you're doing the same thing and changing your pace as well. So if you can copycat a player and play exactly like him, and if you watch him enough, I genuinely believe you can mimic his movements because your brain will just be able to subconsciously process that movement and be able to do it. But you just have to just watch him a lot and try to go out there and mimic him.
Ooh, I love that. I think that is such a lost art these days when it comes to athletics, is kids don't watch the sports that they're competing in as often as they might have back just even 10 years ago. But like if they do it, it can set them apart. I love what you just said right there. And that probably goes back a little bit to what you said earlier too, Abu, which was regarding visualization, just the mental side of the game. If you're watching these guys and then you can visualize what they're doing and you're programming your brain to like understand slow, fast, all of it kind of plays a role in helping you develop on the physical side of things too. So that's a really good piece of advice. That's probably going to be a social media clip right there to promote that one. Just watching your favorite players and understanding how they move and how they play the game. So impactful. I want to just ask you a question. I got a couple questions left, then we can wrap it up. But just a question for me is, what does Abu Kigab enjoy doing off the court? Like, what's your outside of basketball? What are some of your favorite hobbies, and what do you enjoy spending your free time doing?
I honestly like cooking. It's very therapeutic for me. Cook all my meals. I think that helps me after a game or I'm starting off my day. I like having that cool, calm thing that I can do. For me, it's cooking. Some people like meditating, but for me, sitting there chefing up my own food, seeing if I'm getting better at cooking, I think that's really good for me. I like going on walks and stuff like that. But mostly, man, I just love working out. My day mostly consists of basketball, honestly. Like when I get free time, I'm usually watching ball, talking to a lot of family, of course. But I'm trying to really get squeeze as much juice as possible for my basketball career. So I'm just finding every little way I can get better. So my day will be filled with treatments. I'll go to the physio every day. I have my formula and my Normatec that I use every single day. I have my stretching bands, my floss bands that I use for my knee. So I just try to take care of my body throughout the whole day. Make sure I eat really good. And that's kind of like my job, literally just taking care of my body and trying to be in peak condition. Like I have a couple things. I watch TV, I watch YouTube, I watch other players as well. But for the most part, I'm really focusing on just working on my body, eating right, sleeping right, doing all the treatment I need to really maximize everything that I got in this game of basketball. Because that's the most important thing right now. Obviously, it's not the most important thing in life, but it's something I want to be really good at, and I know that I have to do these things in order to be really good at it. it's like a helicopter. If you fly the helicopter for like 1 hour, you're gonna have to do like 10 hours of maintenance.
Dude, I
Literally.
love that analogy. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Hey, how much does nutrition play a role in your recovery? I mean, you love cooking. You talked about taking care of your body. How much does nutrition play a role in your recovery and keeping in peak condition to play at the professional level?
One of the things, nutrition and your sleep number one, nutrition number two. If you're not eating right, you're going to get a lot of inflammation in your body, and that's when your knees start to hurt. That's when you might have a workout day and you're sore for 2 3 days instead of being sore for maybe one day or one night. You might even recover the next day and feel fine. But it's really the second most important thing after your sleep. If you're eating right and you're sleeping right, I think you're maximizing your recovery, and you're doing all the little things like foam rolling, stretching, taking care of your body, Normatec, go and see a physio, whatever you need to do. You're doing all that stuff, and say you're not taking care of your nutrition and your sleep, it's just gonna kind of be pointless. But if you're doing all those three or all those things, and you do that over a long period of time, that's when you see big results. Like if you do it here and there, you're not gonna really see results. But if you do it for a month, 2 3 4 a year, you'll see huge results, and you'll realize like this is actually a separator.
Man, thank you for saying that. That's a huge piece for athletes to understand. That's massive. And I hope those listening, if you are listening right now, take note of that. Please. The importance of that. And what you said to add on to that is like you could be doing all the other things. You're working out hard, you're going to see the physio, but if you're not eating right and sleeping right, then it's a wash. I think as I get older, Abu, it's funny. I'm 36 and I run long distance now. I've got some really good cardio, in my opinion, for as big as I am at 230. I'm 230 pounds, 6'2". I'm strong. I got some, but I got a pudgy belly and a dad bod. And you want to know why? It's because I enjoy eating and I need to stop. Like I need to eat better because I'm not eating right. And it's so true because I always feel like I'm like, dude, a guy who runs as much as I do and is lifting as much as I do and is as strong as I am should not have a dad bod. And it's simply because of nutrition. So I'm so glad that you said, because it goes into all aspects of life. It's not just basketball or whatever. It's everywhere. So it's like, it's a wash. It truly is. So I'm a testament of that. It is a wash. It's like, I can do all these things, but I'm not eating right. It's not going to help me out. So thank you for sharing that. That's super important. It actually was good motivation for me as well. Last question for you. What is
Yeah.
the biggest life lesson that basketball has taught you thus far?
Biggest life lesson, I'd say, your discipline and consistency. That's in anything in life. If you have discipline and consistency, you're gonna make it. Because I felt like in some areas when I was younger, I didn't really have much discipline and consistency. I'd work really hard, but I'd work so hard to the point where I can't do it every single day. So I didn't really have that consistency, and I didn't have the discipline to do certain things every single day, like my treatment or eating right or sleeping right. But as I got older, I realized those things are extremely important, and that's what separates the good from the great players. The great players, I'll explain it like this. Say you're at 100% one day. You work out, you get to 70%. Say you're not doing your treatments, your nutrition and everything. The next day, instead of being at 95 or 100%, you're maybe at 75 from your recovery. And then you go and work out the next day, and now you drop to about 60. And then you're not recovering that well, so you go back to 65 the next day. So you're not really fully 100% every single time you step on the court, so you're not maximizing how good you can get better. Instead of doing all your treatments and stuff, and you're recovering almost back to 100% or 95. Because if you continue to not rest, work hard, not rest, work hard, you're going to drop down to about 50%. And then that's when injuries can happen. 45%. A lot of guys get injured from overtraining, but it's because they're just not recovering. They don't have the discipline and consistency to really take, care of business in those aspects. And I think that's the most important thing, to be honest with you, is realizing like, yeah, your body's like a machine. It's like a car. Like you got to really take care of your body, and you got to be smart. Like, yeah, there's working hard, but I think working smart's a lot better. You have to listen to your body and you got to do what's best for your body. Sometimes you need some rest, and you have to rest because you can't really get better if you're going at 60%. You're actually going to get worse. So it's better to get back to 100 or close to 100 before going. So however you're working out, you want to try to be as fresh as possible for the next day so you can do it consistently. So you got to be disciplined enough to be like, okay, today I can't really go that hard, no problem. I'm going to take this day off, or we're going to have to slow down on this or that to be able to get back to 100 so you're getting better. Because in the game, you want to be playing at 100, not 60. You know what I mean? It's kind of a weird concept, but that's something that I've been thinking about, and that's been helping me a lot. I'm thinking about my body like that in percentages. It's like a phone battery almost. You know what I mean? You want to be at 100%, when you're at game time. You don't want to be at 70 or 60 because that's when you have those bad games or you're missing shots that you usually make and it feels good. That's when things like that really happen, when you're just not resting and fully taking care of your body. And sometimes you might be really tired, but that's when you have to push. But I feel like you don't want to do that so much that you put yourself in a compromising position.
Totally, man. That totally makes sense. It's like a compound effect. If you're always just a couple percentage points like down, like as far as your energy levels and your body and stuff, eventually you'll get to game time and be 60, 70%. You got to make sure you're doing it right so that you can be at 100% come game time. I love that, man. I appreciate the insight there. And I appreciate your time, Abu. I know you're busy, professional basketball player. I just appreciate you being willing to coordinate the schedules with me to where we could get this done, because I think this is going to be super beneficial. I know all those who are listening have probably taken a lot of notes. I've got them written down. I have my iPhone with me right here. I always type notes down while you're talking. So this is really cool. I appreciate your time, man. And thank you for being willing to share your story with us, brother.
No problem, man. I appreciate you having me, and I hope these helps a lot of people out there.
Heck yeah. I appreciate you. And for everybody out there, make sure to hit that subscribe button, follow us, because we'll be coming to you next week with another interview. Take care. Guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of my show. Now, if you could go and do me a favor, head over to iTunes, give me 5 stars, and leave me a review, it would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your support.